I figured okay, well, that didn't work, so let's try this one.
We were born from rivers, whispers of fire and clay, carried by ancestors' rhythms. They sang the chains away. They tried to take the drum, tried to take the name, but spirit don't forget and truth don't lose its flame. This time the revolution is spiritual. We're rising in light. Together we fight from the root to the sky. We remember the call. We reclaim it all. We reclaim it all. Our sacred, our story, our soul. We break every chain. We make ourselves whole. No more surviving. We're born to be free. It's time the revolution is me. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I am creating an album to go along with my work and with the book. And the album is going to be titled This Time the Revolution is Spiritual, just like the book. And that particular song is titled This Time the Revolution is Spiritual. There's actually a couple of versions of the song that will be on the album, but that one will be number one. That's my favorite one. All right, so I will play another little part of it later on in the episode as we go along here, because I want us to become familiar with this song. Now, there is also, I do have a theme song for my book as well, which is titled AI for Ancient Intelligence by a young man named Skillful King. So that is the actual theme song for the book. And then this the album just goes along with all my work, including the book. Okay, so welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. As you join us, if you would just say hi in the comments, that would be awesome. We are hello, big sister Dula. Hello, good to see you. Good to see you. We are a friendly group here, and we are all on the same mission, pretty much, our ultimate liberation. So each one of us plays a little part, and just showing up to an episode like this is you playing your little part. So you can say hi when you come in. So this evening it will be a little different, and I'm going to be reading a little bit from my book titled, not my book, it's our book, right? This was written for all of us. This time the revolution is spiritual, and I'm going to be reading right at chapter 1, which is titled The Weaponization of Spirit. So I'm going to read, and I have some thoughts as I'm reading. Hopefully the thoughts come back to me as I'm reading and as I am on camera. You know how that is. But hopefully we can have some sort of a discussion as I'm reading. Okay, so the weaponization of spirit, spiritual erasure, and the cultural amnesia. They told us we were primitive, that our traditions were savage, that our spiritual ways were nothing but superstition. By the way, I should say this book was given to me, downloaded to me, most of it, by our ancestors. These are the words of our ancestors. This is the bidding of our ancestors. This is the spirit, the vibration of our ancestors. And it was provided to us for our guidance, for our activation, and for our comfort. It is prophecy, okay? It is history. It'll be legacy. It's activation, and it's almost like a manual for how we survive these turbulent times, and the blueprint for how we come out of it as the victors. So it's a book that I believe that every single Black, Negro, African American person should own. All right, so they told us we were primitive, that our traditions were savage, that our spiritual ways were nothing but superstition. Of course, they're going to tell us that to try to elevate themselves over us. All right, they built churches on sacred land. They burned medicine bundles, baptized us with water meant to erase memory. So, you know, they tell us that we have to be baptized with water to save our souls. Imagine that. Why does our souls need saving? And then the entity that they provide, that they created for us to be saved by, was one of them, okay? They told us that we would be saved by a man up in the sky, and that man just happens to be white. Yeah. So they wanted us to forget about our own spirituality and take on their religion. And so they baptized us in water meant to erase our memory. They pointed to their books and institutions as truth, and to our drums, our chants, and our ceremonies as darkness. So the way that we related to the divine, they polluted that, and they called that darkness, and taught us their way, taught us that their way was the way. For how long were we believing that the only way to God was the one way that they taught us? How long were we believing that? Okay, but look around. Their systems are crumbling. Their systems are absolutely crumbling. Their promises were lies. Promises like the American dream were complete lies. And promises that they made to us via religion, they were all lies. And now science, once their tool of domination, begins to prove the truth of what our elders always knew. Our elders always knew the things that their science is now backing, right? Things that, like even healing modalities that they have given new names to, our people, our ancestors knew those things instinctively. Those things were coded in our DNA. We knew these things. And these were some of the things that they demonized earlier, but now they are proving. And now that they are proving it to be true, they are calling it theirs. You know, it's none of it is attributed to us. They're calling it theirs. All right. The injustice of it all. But we are remembering. And as we remember, we rise, not just for ourselves, but with the thousands who walk behind us, whose names we carry in our blood. So let us not forget that in our blood, we carry that bloodline of great rulers and teachers and builders and inventors and warriors. We carry that same bloodline today. And this is the true power that they feared, not our fists. Okay? Not our fists. They don't fear, especially now, our fists. We have fought, right, with our intellect, with our words, with our bodies, with weapons. But now the fight is different, right? And this is the power that they feared. Not our fists, but our connection. They fear our connection to the divine, all right? Our knowing. They fear our knowing. They know darn well that we know, and they have tried everything to hide certain information from us, but it's too late. Too late. They can't hide it anymore. So they fear our unshakable roots. Yes, because the revolution is not only political. This is not just a political revolution. It is not only cultural. This time it is spiritual. All right. Matter of fact, everything has always been spiritual, but that's what they've been fighting us for, to erase our power, because they knew that our power was in our spirituality. So this time the revolution is spiritual, and the ancestors are leading it. Make no mistake. Our ancestors are very busy right now, very active within us, right? They are leading this revolution. They know that this is the way we come out victorious out of this foolishness. So in this book, we will honor them, not just to remember, but to reawaken. Our people need to be reawakened. Too many of us are still asleep. Too many of us are still clinging to their religion, which is just lies, right? To shift from survival to sovereignty, we have to take our ownership of ourselves, of our bodies, of our spirituality back. We have to take all that back, right? We're reclaiming all of it. And to move from suppression to sacred reclamation and to ultimate liberation. And that is the whole purpose of this book, towards our ultimate liberation. Okay. So the truth they tried to erase. How colonization attacked indigenous spiritualities, erased ancestral memory, and severed sacred connections. To conquer a people, you must first sever their spirit. To conquer a people, you must first sever their spirit. To conquer anybody, you must first attack their spirit. You must first interrupt their connection to self, to the power within. Think about imprisoning people or putting people in jail or in solitary confinement. The whole point of that is to break a person. You break a person down from the inside, and then you can do whatever you want to do with them. Yeah. So they knew that the first thing they had to do was chain us and beat us, brutalize us, and tell us our spirituality was darkness in order to conquer us. Okay? That's what colonizers did across continents, invaded the soul before it claimed the land. In order to get our land, they had to break our spirits to make us feel like useless, helpless, right? Indigenous spirituality is deeply woven into daily life. Community, nature, and ancestry were the first targets. Yeah. So they targeted our spirituality, which was deeply woven into our daily life. They targeted community, right? They taught us, they divided us and taught us how to fight one another. All right. They polluted our connection and the way that we communicated with nature and with the cosmos and with our ancestors. Okay. What the colonizers could not understand, they demonized. Now, they didn't quite understand how our spiritual, they still don't, how our spirituality works, but they know it's powerful and they fear it. Okay. And so what they could not understand, they demonized. What they couldn't destroy, they tried to distort, but they never fully succeeded. Never. We are still practicing. Spiritual traditions endured in hidden places, behind closed doors, beneath Catholic saints. Some of our own Orisha were disguised behind Catholic saints. They were hidden inside whispered songs and quiet rituals, right? We hid our stuff inside our songs and our rituals. They lived on in sweat lodges. Yeah. Night fires, ceremonial dances, and secret names. I see more and more ceremonial dances taking place nowadays, more and more ancestral dances taking place. We are awakening, we are remembering. So, and then they hid them in the kitchen, in the garden, in the graveyard. Yes. And they passed them down through lullabies and midwives and grandmothers who prayed over you in language that the colonizer never learned to speak. They never learned our languages. They never did. And you know, recently I've been seeing some social media posts where they are going into even these remote villages in Africa where our people, you know, they live that simple, clean life. And they live in their huts, you know, that they make with straw and mud, and you know, they live a simple, happy life. And they're going in there and they're teaching them our ways. And they are having them having our ancestors teach them our ways. I have big issues with them learning our ways because it's not like they're learning it for respect. They're learning it to continue to dominate, one, and two, to commodify it. Okay? When you go into these remote villages with your camera and you're learning our dances and trying to learn our speech, you and our spiritual ways, and you have your camera and your crew and everything, and then you post this on social media or wherever, and you get millions of views, and you know, that makes you money. This is not about just learning our ways so that we can communicate as brother and sister humans. No, this is about more colonization. This is about continued domination. And profiting off of us. So, language that there are some languages in our African lineage that they will never be able to learn. They'll never be able to speak for real. And so we also send messages in hair braids. That's how creative we were. We preserved our culture any kind of way that we could. And some just didn't hide. Some fought back with spirit at the center. One powerful example of this fight back is a Haitian voodoo. This is one of the most misunderstood spiritual systems on the planet. Haitian voodoo. And by the way, it is not voodoo like they pronounce it. It is voodoo, often spelled Voodoo in the West. Haitian voodoo is a deeply rooted Afro-Caribbean spiritual tradition that emerged during the transatlantic slave trade. But what most people think of when they hear voodoo is zombies, curses, and dolls with pins. This isn't voodoo at all. It's colonizer propaganda, a campaign of fear to keep people from reclaiming their spiritual birthright. So no, it is not voodoo. Let us stop calling it voodoo. It is voodoo. It is voodoo. Okay. If you commit to start calling it by the proper name, then you begin to detach that dark connotation from it, right? And as far as the dolls with pins, we never created that. That was never created by us. That was them. They created those dolls with pins because they didn't understand how our spirituality worked. They only knew it was powerful, and they just figured that that's what we did. We used pin. They created the doll with the pins to suggest that we use it to hurt people, which is not the case. That isn't voodoo at all. It's colonizer propaganda, a campaign of fear to keep people from reclaiming their spiritual birthright. And to this day, some of us are still afraid of voodoo. Voodoo is absolutely not black magic in the way that they teach it. Okay? It is black memory. It is black power. It is black connection. All right? Voodoo is a sacred act of survival and rebellion. The word voodoo comes from the Fon word vaudou, meaning spirit or deity. This tradition originates from West Africa, specifically the Font and Yoruba peoples of modern-day Benin and Nigeria. But over time, colonizers twisted it into something monstrous. They rebranded ancestral wisdom as witchcraft and sacred rituals as savagery. Now, also, witchcraft was never a word we came up with. Witchcraft, they came up with that word to paint what we do as something dark. All right. So we don't practice witchcraft. No. We do practice voodoo and obia, yeah, and Santeria and hoodoo, right? All of these, we don't practice witchcraft. So stop calling what we do our spirituality witchcraft. It is not. Oh my God, how many years did I live believing that our spells and our rituals and things were witchcraft and darkness and evil. My gosh. But we're awakening and we're remembering. That's why many practitioners today reclaim the true spelling, voodoo, a reminder that this path is holy and not haunted. Voodoo is holy. All right? To call voodoo black magic in the way that they think of black magic is like calling prayer demonic. I'm going to say that again. To call voodoo black magic is like calling prayer demonic. Voodoo was never intended for evil, to be dark. So when we call, so to call voodoo black magic is like calling prayer demonic. It reveals more about the lens of white supremacy than the truth of the tradition. Yeah. Voodoo is not black magic. Voodoo is not meant to be evil. Voodoo is a sacred, complex, and ancestral spiritual system of healing. Listen, this is what voodoo is for. Not voodoo, voodoo. What it's for: healing, resistance, and connection to the divine. Not what they told us it was for. It was born in fire in the crucible of slavery, and it has always been a tool of survival, liberation, and spiritual sovereignty. Voodoo was developed for us to survive slavery. If there were no slavery, there probably would never be voodoo. Voodoo was developed for us to make it through, as help for us to deal and live and survive slavery. It was necessary for us to develop technologies to communicate with the divine in order to survive the atrocities of slavery. So what is Haitian Vodou? Vodou is a syncretic religion, meaning it blends multiple traditions into one. It draws from traditional West African religions, especially of the Fon and Yoruba peoples, the Taino spirituality, the indigenous beliefs of the Caribbean First Peoples, and Roman Catholicism, which was forced upon enslaved Africans by French colonizers. Yeah. So they forced Catholicism upon us. And then we, in turn, hid our spirituality behind Catholicism. And you'll still see, though, the way that they practice Catholicism mirrors or borrows a lot from our rituals. Okay. And so, okay, so Vodou as resistance. You must know that Vodou is not just a religion, it is a revolutionary force. Do you hear? Remember, it was born out of slavery, out of the need to survive slavery, right? It's a revolutionary force. Dutty Bookman, an enslaved man who had been transported from Jamaica to Saint Domingue, which is now Haiti, became a Houngan, which is a voodoo priest. And he played a key leadership role in the early stages of the Haitian Revolution. He organized the famous Boy Caiman ceremony in 1791, seen as the spiritual spark of the revolution. So that ceremony, that Vodou ceremony back in the park, back in 1791, was how the Haitian Revolution began. Okay? Yeah. During that sacred ceremony in a forest called Boy Kaman, Dutty Bookman and the priestess named Cecile Fatiman called upon the spirits for justice. They invoked the spirits, not for peace. Okay? In that park, preparing for the revolution, they invoked their spirits, not for peace, They knew that there was no peace, but for justice, liberation, and war against their oppressors. That's what they called on the spirits for justice, for liberation, and war against their oppressors. And this reminds me of how Peter Tosh, a late Jamaican reggae singer, sang. It's like Peter must have read this book. Peter was saying, we don't want no peace. We want justice. We want equal rights and justice. And when we are protesting in the streets, we'll say, no justice, no peace. Yeah. So way back when, Dottie Bookman in the park in 1791 prayed not for justice, not for peace, but for justice, liberation, and war against their oppressors, and used their voodoo rituals. Okay, Bookman's prayer, White God, and I don't know why I didn't include that prayer in the book, was followed by ritual offerings, drumming, dancing, and spiritual possession. Now that's another thing that they vilify, spiritual possession. They say that our spirit possession, when we are doing our rituals and stuff, they say that that is evil and that is dark. But what about their spiritual possession when they are in church? When you're in church and the music is going and, the words are being taught and the body starts doing all kinds of things and you're falling all over the pews and you're running around the church, and they call that being possessed they call it filled with the Holy Spirit. Filled with the Holy Spirit. But when we invoke our ancestral spirits, they call that evil spiritual possession. Okay? The hypocrisy and the lies. So that night in the park, that night marked the spiritual ignition of a unified uprising across plantations. And what followed was the Haitian Revolution, the first successful slave revolt in the Americas, establishing Haiti as the first Black republic in the Western Hemisphere. Voodoo was not on the sidelines. Okay? Voodoo was not on the sidelines while the revolution was happening. It was the organizing principle. The revolution was organized on the principles of voodoo, the sacred strategy. Voodoo was very much a part of the strategy of the Haitian Revolution. It empowered the people with courage, unity, and divine permission to rebel and prevail. That is how powerful our spirituality. This is what I'm trying to tell us right now. If we begin practicing our spirituality and we as a collective begin to focus our spiritual power against their corruption and their oppressive systems, it's coming that it would be over in a minute. But we are afraid. We are afraid of our own spiritual powers. But it's okay. Well, not okay, but we are learning. We are waking up. More and more of us, the scales are falling off our eyes. More and more of us are waking up. More and more of us are understanding where we come from and what we come with. And as more and more of us, because a lot of us are very active right now, spiritually tearing down things. That's why you see things, you see them running around. They are so confused. They are self-destructing because the very systems that they are erecting, putting in place to subjugate us are the very systems that's causing their demise. Yeah, yeah. And do they see what they're doing? You wonder if they don't see what the pit that they're digging for themselves. You wonder if they don't see it, or is it they see it, but in order to still dominate us and keep us in our place, they are willing to chop off their noses to spite themselves. They are willing to let the ship sink so that we don't become equal to them, in that they don't have to admit that we are equal, or maybe even greater than them. Oh, let me check in with the let me check in. Oh, Ms. Lai, hello, my love. Hello, good to see you. Good to see you, Marilyn. Sis, I'm at the event, just popping in. Hey, sis, thank you for popping in. Ms. La, yes, I'm so glad you're here. Winsome and family, take care. Happy holidays. Much love. Thank you, Marilyn. Order Winsome's book and become part of the spiritual revolution. This is the book right here. And the link is in the chat and in the description. And then I'm learning to not be afraid. Fear is the biggest weapon. Absolutely. Fear is the biggest weapon that they use against us. Yes. Yes, I took a nap. I woke up just in time. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So, some core beliefs of Vodou, in understanding Vodou, enslaved Africans invoked the Loa, that are Haitian spirits. They called on justice and rose up spiritually armed. They entered battle with songs, rituals, and spirits at their side. Vodou empowered them to reclaim what slavery tried to steal. That is their agency, their power, their God-given freedom. And as a sample ritual calling on a Loa, Papa Legba, who was the gatekeeper, in Vodou, rum is often used as an offering to the spirits, which the spirits, Loa, is what they're called. So the rum was offered to the spirits to show respect and invite their presence. A simple ritual involves pouring a small amount of white rum onto the ground or altar while calling the name of a specific Loa, like Papa Legba, the gatekeeper of the spirit world. Some practitioners blow misted rum from the mouth to activate the energy and signal the spirit of the spirit world. We do that all the time in Jamaica still. But you'll see the men pour a little rum into the earth, little libation to the spirits. You'll see them blowing the rum out of their mouths. You'll see them pouring rum on the graves. Yeah, our traditions still live on. They still live on. So real quick right here, because I'm not going to read the whole chapter, right? Because we'll pick up some other time. But who are the Loa? The Loa are not gods in the Western sense. They are divine energies, ancient spirits, and archetypes of human experience. You build relationships with them, honor them with offerings, music, and ritual. Some of the most well-known include Papa Legba, guardian of the crossroads, opener of spiritual doors, Urzuli Frida, spirit of love, beauty, sensuality, Ogu, warrior spirit, patron of strength, revolution, and protection. It is important for us to know these spirits, A spirit like Ogu, we need to be walking with the spirit of Ogu at all times. Warrior spirit, patron of strength, revolution, and protection. Baron Samedi, guardian of the dead, trickster of the afterlife. All right. And Ezelia Dantor, fierce Black mother, protector of women and children, often invoked in liberation struggles. So each Loa has their own songs, colors, offerings, and sacred symbols. To serve them in is to remember who you are. To serve these spirits is to remember who you are. Let us stop being afraid of our spirituality. Vodou is a form of resistance against cultural erasure, a way for enslaved people to hide their gods in plain sight, disguising them as Catholic saints while keeping their sacred systems alive. Vodou is a perfect example of the revolution being spiritual. Okay? It kept African cosmology alive under genocide. It gave enslaved people strength to fight and wisdom to heal. It continues today as a living path of freedom. Vodou is a living path to our freedom. We should be practicing Vodou it should be a major part of our lives. So first of all, let's stop calling it voodoo and call it by its proper name so that you're not afraid to practice it. Vodou should be a daily practice with us, daily part of our lives. And so Vodou didn't just survive colonization, it fought back. Haiti declared its freedom and the world would never be the same. Haitian Vodou has always been a weapon against erasure, a prayer for the fallen, a call to the ancestors, a roadmap to liberation. Vodou was not meant to be evil. That I agree, and I would love to properly learn it. Yes. Now, some of it, there are some rituals that are taught in this book, but also there's a lot of documentaries and videos on YouTube about Haitian Vodou. There's a lot of it on there, and I have not personally studied under any Hongun, any priests or anything, but I'm making my way there. But I've learned some of the rituals. We can learn these rituals and practice them. It'll only strengthen us. It'll help us health-wise. Some of the things that we're suffering, we really don't even need to be suffering them if we were practicing our spirituality. And it's there for us. But they told us it was evil. They told us it was dark. They told us it was savage. And they said, take this white God instead. Pray to this white person outside of yourselves. Yeah. Be baptized in this water to save your soul. Because, of course, our souls needed saving, right? Because we were evil. Yeah. So anyway, so that was just a little bit of chapter 1 of This Time the Revolution is Spiritual. Again, this book is prophecy. This book is like a manual for surviving the times and overcoming and coming out victorious of this battle, because I promise you, we do come out victorious. All right, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it looks like right now. You see how quiet it looks like Black people are? That is because we are fighting different. We are not fighting with weapons. We are not even sparring with them intellectually as much. We are going inward. We are returning to our ancestral ways. That is how we're fighting back these days. Yeah. And it's working. You can see it in, listen, systems. I said this before, systems that they create to subjugate us, to control us. You see, they create a thing like social media. You see, they create a thing like social media. Social media was created to control, yeah, to spy on you, to see what you are doing, to figure you out so that they know how to sell to you, to continue to keep you bound to poverty, to get you addicted to consumerism so that you can't make your way out into prosperity, right? And to teach us what they want us to learn, to know, but it's backfiring. It's backfiring because now we are using, we did not need social media to feed us the information and the truth that we know, right? We are remembering. This is the age of the remembrance. We're remembering these truths. So we really don't need social media to be teaching us the truth. The truths are being downloaded into us. Now, social media, however, helps us to disseminate that truth wider because some of us are still stubborn, right? Some of us are a little slower than others. So social media, the same social media that they created, right, to control us, is the same social media that will eventually cause their demise, because we use those platforms to spread the truth, and our people become strengthened as we spread the truth. Oh yeah, it's showtime. It's showtime. Ancestors are busy. I told you, ancestors are pure gangster right now. They ain't playing. They ain't playing. They are leading this revolution. This revolution is full scale on, and they are leading it. You better open your eyes and see it and get with the program. Play your little part. Again, I say, watching a little episode like this is playing your part. Reading this little book is playing your part. Lighting a candle and invoking a spirit, that's you playing your little part. You can invoke a spirit and chant some sort of message towards whatever system you want to tear down, and it's coming down. That's how much power we have. If they can do it in the Haitian Revolution, we can do it today. All right, so I'm done preaching. I'm done preaching. I have other things to do. I'm gonna go. Oh, before I go, let me play just one more little verse of the song, the Revolution song. All right. And then we're gonna go.
We are the prayers of our grandmother's tongues, the healing herbs in the palms of the young. We walk with the rhythm of ancient drums, the ones they silence, but we've become. This ain't just history, this is prophecy. Change.
crown the revolution is we. All right. So, all right. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining in, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye. Thanks, Ms. Law. Thanks, Big Sister Dula. And thanks, Marilyn.